So today I'm going to talk about 3 practical ways for you to practice self-love, for you to start practicing, and at some point you're going to start to realize that it's working. All right. Now, when you first start practicing this, it can feel weird. It can feel unordinary. You can feel like you feel a little crazy, maybe, right? That's how I felt. I felt like, wow, this is weird. Like, you feel sort of like embarrassed for yourself when you first practice this. So I want you to know that it's okay to feel those. Okay, feel those, but don't stop. Don't react to them by stopping and start self-talking yourself that this is not going to work. Don't self-talk to yourself that this is crazy. It's okay to acknowledge. It's okay to feel those and acknowledge it, but don't react by judging or labeling or quitting. All right. So the very first one is to speak it and then to feel it. So maybe the first several weeks, you want to just speak this, and you can get creative later. But the very simple fact, whether you're driving or in the showers or you're getting dressed for the day, or you're sitting there because you're waiting for somebody or something, So the very simple thing, the first thing is saying it out loud, because words are so powerful. Actually, I had a talk with somebody. Words is the most powerful thing. I'm not going to get into why, but just sitting there and just saying it out loud. I love myself. 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 You can put your own name into it. I love you, Derek. I love you, Derek. I love you, Derek. I love you, Derek. That's me. That's my name, Derek. So you can kind of use various ways of cosmically amplify that statement, amplify that energy, amplify that reassurance, amplify that. So saying it out loud over and over and over for the next several weeks. Now, the first several times you do this, you're going to feel kind of like, oh, this is uneasy in a way. This feels different. This feels weird, because you start going through this self-judging, self-talk, negative self-talk. And that's part of the practice and the journey that you're going to feel. You may feel other negative emotions, or other uneasy emotions, but it's okay. Just acknowledge that it's there, but don't react to it, and just push through. At this very point, I can tell you that your body, your brain, your subconsciousness, your self-talk is making you feel those things, because it's not true. Because if you say something out loud and it's not true, your body is going to react. Your body is going to send an emotion for you to react and say, that's not true. And you're going to feel really uneasy about it. Okay. So that's the reason why you're feeling that way. Still, the same practice of saying it, once you start to, after several weeks, maybe months, you're going to start to try to feel that. Okay. You're going to try to feel that. You're going to go, you're going to say it over and over and over. It could be 100 times a day. It could be 1,000 times a day. There's no limit. You can say it once. Just maybe saying it once and being mindful of how you feel. Like, whoa, I just said it. How does it feel? Right? That's a good practice too, to understand, to feel how you feel. From there, after you start to try to feel it, the side effects you're going to feel maybe is unbelievable, because it's like, it's not true. Like, I don't feel self-love. You can think that you have self-love. You can think that you feel self-love. until you really come across that emotion, it's one of the most liberating things, because you start to realize, wow, I can actually feel it now. I always use this exercise to say to people, like, say something that you don't have, and pretend you can feel you have it right now. The body, the body consciousness, the body emotion, it's going to reject that feeling, because it won't let you feel it, because it's not true. It's not aligned with your universe at that moment. So your body's going to go, no, I don't feel right. I don't feel that this is true. So no, I don't have the $1 million. I don't have that car. I don't have that home. I don't have that companion, that love, that friendship. You're gonna, you know, if I said right now that something I don't have is I own a private jet. 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 You're gonna be, my body's gonna be like, no, you don't. So no, you can't feel it. Your body's not gonna let you feel it. But the more you say it and feel it, remember, there's two things happening now that's so powerful, is the words. Remember that. The words are powerful, and then two, your emotions. It's so important when we try to force the emotion. Now, this is different from lying to yourself or lying to people or being a compulsive liar. No, I'm not telling you to tell people that you have a private jet when you don't, right? I'm just saying for you to say it to yourself, because when you can say it out loud, the words impact your subconsciousness. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Your subconsciousness, your brain, your paradigm has no distinction between the words that your friends, family, and society and the news and the media tells you. It doesn't. And if you tell yourself that over and over and over, your subconsciousness, remember, can't distinguish the different words, that energy. It just hears it. Your brain has no option but to hear it, because I'm saying it right now. I'm saying it out loud, unless you're deaf or something like that, right? I'm not making fun of anybody at this point, but what I'm trying to say is, you know, your brain can't distinguish it. So when you say it or your friends say it, your brain hears it, and it's an auto learning thing. It's a reactive auditory system picking it up. It's going into your subconsciousness, it's going to your auditory system. So that's the reason why they say your 5 closest friends, you become like them, is because they say words that you don't catch, you don't count, you don't keep track of, but the brain is hearing it. And at some point, the brain shifts to that paradigm. It believes those things. That's your new world. That's your paradigm now. That's your framework. That's your subconsciousness. Okay, so you saying it over and over and over is impacting you. Now, too, if you're forcing that feeling through, you're shifting your hardwiring much faster. You're shifting your paradigm much quicker. You're changing the neural pathways in your brain faster. Okay, so 2 things to impact you. That's number 1. That's the first practical practices. I hope that was simple enough for you to understand. Hope that I can give you some side effects that you may feel or encounter, but know that those are normal. Okay, the second thing is going to be the second practice after you're practicing the first practice, which is speak it and feel it. The second one is sort of a meditation process. There's several ways to say what this practice is in different subjects. It could be some people call it compassion, okay? Like in the Buddhist world, in the Buddhist practice, we call it practicing compassion. And compassion isn't just like, you know, giving your stuff away or anything like that, or giving anything away, or being nice to some people. That's not the compassion that we're talking about. But in the practical practice of compassion is practicing compassion for yourself. It's centering yourself. Okay, that's the practical way of explaining it, is centering yourself, centering your emotion, being with your emotion, versus running away from it. So let's just say you're going through, a traumatic experience in life. It could be a loss of a loved one. It could be a heartbreak. It could be something you really want or need and you didn't get, okay? And now you're feeling, anger. You're feeling a pain. You're feeling a sort of suffering. But instead of running from it, and when I say running, that means you're trying to be there and make it happen and force it to happen, versus being with it and being with the pain and feeling it. I went through a recent heartbreak, and I remember when I got this text message from this girl, she said to me, there's no chance, or whatever the case may be. I started going into sweats. I remember feeling light sweats. I remember feeling fear of losing this person. The brain automatically started going into, I'm picturing other things that another person she's gonna be with, and I'm gonna lose her, and I'm feeling, man, it's gonna be a year to year and a half, or 6 months or 3 months before I get over this person. That's running from it. If you have a friendship with somebody that didn't work out because you guys got into an argument, you now want to react and just get rid of that person in your life by blocking them, by deleting their phone numbers, by doing all this stuff, because that's your childhood acting out, reacting to it, okay? So this is part of the compassion of, no, if this person said this to me and is a negative thing, don't react by saying something negative back. Don't react by saying something, trying to run from it or react to it. Just encompass your emotions with that negative experience and going, wow, and feeling it and getting closer with the fear or the pain or the suffering. That's going to allow you to center yourself, to practice compassion. And that's the compassion practice of being with that emotion. Don't run from it, feel it. And that's step one, okay? That's the second practice, is to center your emotion and practice compassion. So you want to practice compassion. I know I sound like a redundant, I'm sounding redundant right now, but I want to make sure I kind of hit these points and use these words to paint the clearest picture possible for you in different avenues, different ways, different perspective. Okay, so it's to feel your compassion, it's to be with yourself. And don't run from it, okay? So centering yourself is more of maybe a Western way of explaining it. Compassion is more of Eastern way of explaining it. But they both mean the same thing, okay? You hear this a lot where it says practice compassion. It just means center your emotion. When you don't center your emotion, it could also feel like, a side effect feels like your heart is outside of your chest. Your heart is like trying to run, is trying to race, is trying to get somewhere, okay? And the third thing is the self-talk, is the subconscious self-talk. It's the subconscious expectation, okay? The subconscious self-talk and also the subconscious expectation. Those practices are a little bit different. They're much deeper. They're harder to catch. They're harder to get a grasp on. When I say get a grasp, that means like mentally actually catching, going, wow, I see it now. So, and also the conscious self-talk. So the self-talk is two things. It's subconscious self-talk and conscious self-talk. This is something that you could be driving and going about your day and just walking, maybe, you're walking your dog, and you actually, the inner voice, okay, is the self-talk. That's the conscious self-talk. But there is also, okay, hold on, sorry. Let me stay on this, just this conscious self-talk. The conscious self-talk is how we talk it in our head. If you're planning something, if you're thinking, steps 1, 2, and 3, that's the conscious self-talk. You're thinking about, all right, I need to go here, pick this up, drive down here, go get that, walk down this block to pick this up, run this errand, run that. Those are the conscious self-talk. You can hear your own head talking. Then you have the subconscious self-talk, which is much harder to catch and grasp. But if we could, so this is the third practice. Step 1 of the third practice is understand our conscious self-talk. It could be something like, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do it. And then when you don't do it and then you do stop or quit on something, now you go through this conscious self-talk of like, oh, I'm no good. I'm not good enough. You basically don't give yourself enough credit at that point. You just sort of negatively start using negative vocabularies now towards yourself, and it's crazy because a lot of people do this. A lot of people go through this, and I feel like they never even realize it sometimes. And if they never realize the conscious self-talk, trying to catch your subconscious self-talk is so much, harder. So this is the third thing to practice, which is, how do you practice this self-talk consciously on a practical level? It's very simple. It's number 1, just catching yourself saying something negative about yourself and going, no, and just going, oh, wow, I just realized I just did it. And then back to step 1 practice, which is consciously centering yourself again. Compassion towards yourself, center your emotions, center yourself, be with your emotions, and being okay that you just negatively talk to yourself. It's okay, consciously negatively talk to yourself, consciously labeling things, judging people's. So it's a full ecosystem where you catch yourself consciously negatively self-talking yourself. And then more importantly is stopping yourself from actually catching yourself first. Then you want to do this for, obviously we call it a practice. That means you constantly do it. You constantly keep practicing this. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line, 10 years for life. It's okay when you still catch yourself negatively, consciously self-talking. It's okay. More importantly, it's catching it. And then 2, compassion, centering yourself, centering your emotions. Like, why do I feel this way? Why did I just say that? You can go deeper at that point, but I'm not going to get into the deeper part yet. The subconscious self-talk is more of an emotion, a reaction. You could, if somebody calls you a bad name, for example, you just go ahead and you say something back. But instead, you're catching your subconscious emotions, your subconscious self-talks, your subconscious expectation. We don't realize this, but 90% of our days, maybe more than 90% of our days, we react to a lot of things around us. We react to a lot of things that, in a negative experience or a positive experience come towards you, and you react to it. You react to that. Those are the subconscious self-talks now that you actually don't even hear the voice at this point. But it's a reaction. It's an emotion. That's the subconscious self-talk there. And a practical practice of same thing, when you can consciously catch yourself now, you have a quicker and a higher chance of subconsciously catching your self-talk, your subconscious expectation. And once you catch those, wow, I just felt this. And then you center yourself, you practice the compassion again, and you go, wow, this is amazing because I'm catching the subconscious self-talk now. Now, this could be a little bit difficult, and I may not be explaining it the best way possible. I don't believe I am, probably, but I'm trying to get you to be in tune with it first. Number one is always catching it. It's always catching it, you know. When you can catch it, when you can actually realize you're doing it, now you can figure out, okay, getting good at catching it is a really important practice. Getting really good at catching your conscious self-talk, your subconscious self-talk, your subconscious expectation, then you can actually go back to compassion practices and just knowing, hey, it's not permanent. You know, I'm feeling this because the brain is trying to tell me something. And how do I figure out what this brain is trying to tell me? And I have other videos in my other channels that talk about the 4 pillars of how the mind works. Go ahead and watch that. I might leave a link somewhere here or maybe in the description that will connect the practice with the 4 pillars of our ecosystem. Our ecosystem meaning the brain, okay? And when you can go into the 4 pillars of practicing those things, you now are able to walk and chew gum and talk on the phone at the same time. You know what I mean? But catching it is just walking. Catching it is just walking. It's not, don't be hard on yourself when you do something wrong or when you fail at something or when you don't accomplish something. That's the negative self-talk that we want to catch, okay? So I hope this video kind of sums it up. Leave a comment below. I'm here to share this enlightenment with you, this liberating enlightenment that, you know, I can see a lot of the people in society die and never realize. They die and they never catch. They die and they never realize themselves. They don't know themselves. You know, when people say, do you know yourself? It doesn't mean, oh yeah, I know what I want. I want to accomplish this and that. But what is it that makes you want to accomplish that? It's not just the money. It's not just the fame. It's not just the you know, the success that comes with it. But what is it in you rudimentally that makes you want to do that? That's the interesting thing. That's what we call knowing oneself, is going deeper beyond the emotion, tapping into your subconsciousness of figuring out, why do I want that? You know, and that's another video I'm going to make, but this is just 3 steps of practical practices to start. I'm going to make another video eventually on deeper practices of subconscious, more practical practices on self-love. But this is just step 3 steps. I think it's a good framework to adopt for oneself, and then at some point we can flourish from there, you know. I mean, you're already flourishing when you practice step 1. I'm letting you know that. So I'm gonna end this video here. Comment below if you have any questions. I'll get back to you guys there as well. I'm also gonna leave my phone number. I allow text messages. This is actually my phone number for me to get in touch with, you know, customers, because I'm in business, and direct contact. Phone number is 310-974-1963. It's a number that I get text messages from, and also I can take phone calls. If it's an urgent thing, you can text me. If it's something that's not so urgent, you can comment below. I get a lot of subscriptions and notifications, so sometimes I might miss your comments, but a text would also be great to be like, you can text me and say, hey, I left a comment on your video. I can go and dig for it, you know, or you can text me your comment directly on the text. But I prefer it on the YouTube video here, because that's going to create more, bring up the value of this video. So like and subscribe, share this video with any of your friends, family, anybody in the world you see struggling, that's dealing with some sort of suffering. I really want to, that's one of my goals in this world, is to leave this, to help everybody before I go, before I depart this vessel, this body, and start a new journey in the universe somewhere. Love you guys. Stay strong, and hope to see you guys soon or talk to you guys soon. Okay, have a great day.